all you lads and ladies out there. This is the mask. You later stepping in for one JPC. As tonight he has the night off, but I'm here to save the day. And who am I here to save the day for? Those Ole Miss Rebels, or Black Bears, or Land Sharks. I don't know what their nickname is, but I'm here to save the day. Because there's rumblings out there that since the mighty Alabama hath fallen from grace, since Alabama went down to Kyle Field and took it on the chin from Jimbo Fisher, there seems to be some rumblings out there that maybe, just maybe, finally, Nick Saban and Alabama will take a step back and provide Ole Miss the chance to go to Atlanta for the first time in Ole Miss history. But Alabama still has to lose one more game. And if Ole Miss can run the table, then finally the dream may come true. Is it unrealistic for Ole Miss to think that Alabama may indeed drop another? Because Alabama in the past, as you know, has dropped games in the regular season and made it to the playoff anyway. Like probably 3 or 4 times, I would say. Now, let's look at Ole Miss's schedule. Since they're thinking that Alabama might drop a game, well, let's look at Ole Miss here. Ole Miss has to play at Tennessee. I'm looking at the Lindy's edition, the national edition, by the way. One of the 2 college football Bibles that me and JPC go by. Check them out. All right, they're at Tennessee. Play LSU at Auburn. Then they play Liberty in an interesting game with Hugh Freeze coming back to the Grove. Then you have Texas A&M also at the Grove. Vanderbilt at the Grove. And at Mississippi State, which is always tricky. That game, when you say throw the records out the window in a rivalry, lots of time it's just cliche. But in the Egg Bowl, it really means something. So, in my opinion, Ole Miss could run the table because normally the Tennessee, LSU, Auburn gauntlet would just be too much for Ole Miss in the past. But with Lane Kiffin and his super play calling, and the fact that these 3 teams are not nowhere near as good as they once were, could lend to the fact that Ole Miss could run the table and go to Atlanta for the first time. But then there's that evil empire, that Alabama Crimson Tide. Will they drop another game? Alabama still has to play Tennessee as well as LSU and Auburn. So, is there a chance that Alabama could drop one of those games? A lot more weird things have happened. Let's look at Alabama's schedule real quick. We turn into our college football Bibles to page 210. And it says unto thee here that Alabama, let's look at their schedule. Alabama still has to play at Mississippi State this weekend. Always a hard place to play. Play Tennessee at home, LSU at home, New Mexico State at home, Arkansas at home. And then they go on the road to Auburn, which is always tricky for Alabama for some reason. Something about playing down there on the plains with the tree humpers. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say stuff like that. JPC is starting to rub off on me. So, yes, Alabama does have a daunting schedule as well. Ole Miss's schedule is a little bit easier. But, as we've seen in the past, Ole Miss will drop another game somewhere along the way that usually they're favored in. Even when they're having a good season, Ole Miss has been known, especially in the Egg Bowl, to drop a game to Mississippi State, for example. So, in conclusion, my verdict in this whole thing is, I think it is very possible that Alabama could drop another game. Unlikely, but could happen. I'd say 70-30. Alabama does not drop a game. The point I'm trying to make is that Ole Miss needs to worry about their schedule. They're worried about Alabama dropping another game. Well, you guys have got to play Texas A&M too, as well as all the other teams that I mentioned. Can you run the gauntlet? Can you sustain success? Like Arkansas, for example. Can you continue and sustain success during a gauntlet like the SEC? And in my opinion, yes, Alabama could drop another game, but Ole Miss will probably drop one too. And then what we're going to have is a three-way tie. Has anybody thought about Texas A&M maybe bowing up and blowing out the competition the rest of the way, and it'd be a three-way tie? Who would win then? Who would win the conference if there was a three-way tie between Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Alabama? But that's another question for another day. But today, I cannot save the day for Ole Miss because, in my opinion, y'all are going to drop another game, not Alabama. And with that, I'm going to get off of here. And as JPC always likes to say, like, share, comment, and please subscribe to this channel, as it keeps us up and going and keeps us motivated and keeps our spirits up and brings in those common Joes and Sallys in the know, even more so than all those dastardly media talking heads. And he likes to say this too, KMCA to all the other teams.